Welcome to the Bookworm Bindery with Cathy-Lynn. We are working on the Mermaid Junk Journal, getting some final touches put on so that it's all ready to be passed off to the client who's ordered it. So I was looking at this page to put this stencil on, which you can't see on the white page. And I looked over here and I saw this piece of this trim. And I thought, oh, that's going to look really cool there. I don't know why I thought that, but I decided it looks really cool there. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this in. And because this is a really wide open mesh, it's going to take a few minutes for that to dry. So by gluing this in first, hopefully the glue will have dried enough after I do the stencil that I can close this down. So let's see how this works. Okay. So, bit of a glue down. I have a almost completely dried out wet wipe. Good. Yeah, I think that's doing the job. I'm gonna have to do a little more glue here, a little more glue here, but I'm gonna let this kind of set. Now, in addition to this silvery stuff, I also pulled out two flat-backed glue-on jewels. Don't know how well you can see those. They are, I don't know, they look sort of scaly, and they have blues, purples, greens in them. So I thought I would glue those on the net, sort of at the ends, and not in a completely random, but in a not completely match thing. So those will go on now. There's no point in waiting a few minutes for anything. And now glue all over my hands. Okay, so let's glue the back of that. Stick that down. Kind of enough pressure that it mushes. How's that working? I don't know. I guess if it falls off, I'll re-glue it. That's a plan, isn't it? But knowing that this glue needs to go down through the mesh to the paper, it'll glue itself both to the mesh and to the paper. That should give it a really good hold. If it doesn't get glued to my fingers first. And that is exactly what it was trying to do. So let me remove the glue. Yep. Reach across and hold it securely with a non-gluey finger. This might have been a good thing to use the hot glue gun with. Again. So this is I want to say this is the 9th video in this series. And the plan is to wrap it up with 10. So I'm going to cross our fingers and hope that comes to pass. So while that's doing its thing, I'm going to lay this down here and kind of in the mode of, or I don't know, maybe the mode of something isn't the right term, but in the style of the mermaid concept, I'm going to I am going to use these big foam daubers and get at least the 3 colors in, and we may have some melding because of it. So I'm going to start off with purple. So this is a makeup sponge, and it has purple on this side and pink on the other side. So we'll start with purple. Dip it into my Distress Oxide, and I guess I'm going to start on this end. I'm just going to do a bit of dabbing, dabbing, dabbing. Maybe come up here and do a touch. Okay, then I'm going to turn it around, and I'm going to go into this pink, and I'm going to work on dabbing, dabbing, dabbing. And then I'm going to go into the blue and finish this off. Did shift a little. So I'm going to shift it back. And I think, oh, I should mask this on its edges, or I should put a piece of paper under it so that it doesn't come across that way or here. And then I don't always get that done. So then I like to do things like this. Mushy, 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 mushy. Like, yeah, I think you can really tell where I made a mistake, because it wasn't intended. It has to be called a mistake. But there's going to be a little other stuff. So there. Okay, so we have this one. I've got about 3 or 4 others that I want to do. And at that point, I think I will end up calling it good, because the client will be able to add things that she wants to it. I mean, that's totally the intent of this. I am simply starting it out. So I call them starter junk journals when they have a little bit of stuff going on, but not complete by any part of anybody's imagination. So what I did was I picked, let's see, is this gonna stick? That's gonna be good, it's dry. I just picked a place in each of the signatures to do some stencil. I like to stencil on the back of pages. In this case, it's a coloring page or a writing space. If you have a dedicated writing space, you don't want a pocket or a tuck on the back side. You want to be able to write on it. So by putting a stencil on the back side, you are, I'm gonna need those in a minute, you are allowing that, the back side of your writing space, or in this case your coloring space, to be flat. Still be decorated, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece of coral and I'm putting it in at the bottom edge of this page. And I don't want this to be super dark because I'm going to put another stencil over the top of it. So I'm just going to do a little bit of basically stippling. Let's peel it back a little and see. Yeah, not quite enough. And I chose to use a really light color. It is not the purple. It is called Antique Linen. I really like to do pale or light detailing with this antique linen when I'm working with journals. More often, not junk journals. More often I'm using this on journals that people are going to write on, because you can so write over this. It gives a touch of detail without putting, a dark stencil on. That's not this page. So I'm just going to have this in the background, and then I'm going to put stencil. Oh no, I just put this blue on top of that pink. That's going to be so beautiful. Sure. And we're going to tap, tap, tap until we get to the blue. And then we'll Goodness gracious. What was I thinking? It was just right there. It was just right at hand. So now let's go purple. And then let's turn it and go. Oh, we got pink, but we'll go for some more because we want this to be pinker than pink. And then we'll go blue. Put that down here. So we're laying this stencil over the other stencil, and we are looking at a really, hopefully, pretty layer technique. Let's peel that off and see. Oh yeah, very pretty. And then we have the pail in the back as well. Nice. Okay. Let's get this wiped down. It's just a basic baby wipe. It's a really basic one. It's a baby wipe, and it was the least expensive one I could buy. So I'm not worried about, I don't really want to close that yet. I am not worried about tender bottoms because I'm not going to use it on anybody's bottom. Okay, so there was that. And then in the back, I have another one. This is actually going to be placed on not the back page, which is a coloring page. There's a nice writing space here, but I felt like it would do well with the decorations we have here. So this one, I did masking tape off. I masking taped off. I'm not sure how well you can see it, but there's a fish and some bubbles. I'm not sure about bubbles. It's kind of silly, but here, I actually wanted to use green on this piece of seaweed. So I'm going to go for some green in this section. Brush that in versus stippling it in because I want it to be a little stronger. And then I think we'll come over here to this and work in this one as well. Okay. From that point, we're going to go into this and use the light stuff for these seashells below. Whoops. Don't do that. Starfish and this particular piece of coral. At least in my world, it's coral. So that's what that looks like. Now, I'm going to lay this back over the top. It's really easy to do that with stencils. And then we're going to get a fish in here. And one of the things that's kind of cool, especially as when you're using your stippling techniques, is you can go heavier in some places so that it gives you lighter and darker. Just reach across here and wipe this down. Lighter and darker shade values on your stenciled art. Okay, and I'll remove the tape in a bit. I don't think you need to see me remove tape. I think you have to trust that I can do that on my own. Okay, put that down a little. Okay, now we're going to put the mermaid here, and there's not really going to be much in the way of overlay. I'm not too worried about it. And I am probably going to go with the pinks and purples again. I don't know, it just seems to make sense. I think we see that kind of thing in art a lot. And I want the fish to be blue because the fish below is blue as well. So want her hair to come across nicely. And then right up in here as well. That'll leave her face in a little bit of shading. And then we'll just drop a little blue here. And then I think we're going to go in with the purple. May leave the pink out of it this time. And work this into her body. And then we may come back over with a little bit of blue just to deepen what we've got here. Okay. So if you have a concern, you think, oh, what if I mess this up? And, you know, I think we often have concerns like that. So we're going to deal with that. We have this concern that, you know, it may not come out the way we like it. Obviously, this is something that you can practice on a piece of scrap paper. The cool thing about that is that when it is really nice, you do it and you're like, oh, this did turn out good. I shouldn't have doubted myself. Then you've got it. You can cut it out and you can use it somewhere else. You can put it on a tag. You can do whatever else is that you might do with that. You could use it for a different project. And then you can come in and do it on your page. But you know, if I had messed this up, if I had done this and went, oh, I hate the way this looks, I can't believe I did something so horrible, then I could come in with another piece of paper and glue it over. And then this would be glued in underneath, and no one would know that I did something that didn't turn out. Junk journals are great for that sort of thing. So now what I would like to do here is, those were my stencils. Let me close up my inks because, you know, you don't want them to dry out. Plus the space is starting to get really full. Okay, so this is back. I'll cover those up. These were, I picked these sponges up maybe at the Dollar Tree, and then just above these makeup sponges were these little makeup sponge holders that they sold separately. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but I have cats. I have helpful cats. I have cats that love to be involved in the things that I do. And makeup sponges are a favorite thing to steal. I don't know why. They probably just feel really cool when you're chewing on them. So I thought, oh yeah, I'm really going to want those little containers to put my sponges in. Cats do steal the triangular ones that I use, so they're now in a cleaned out takeaway food container that is sitting over on my other work surface. Storage. It's really storage. It's not a work surface. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put some ribbons, laces, trims just on the edge of some of these pages. It just gives another element. How do I want to do that? It seems weird, but I actually do want to do this way. So I started it off. What I want is to have it even on one edge, and it would be great if it wasn't stuck to other pages below. Okay, so I am moving this up because I want it all the way to this top edge. Okay, so I'm just kind of pulling in this burlappy type of an edge. The colors, the textures, that's what I'm looking for here. Whoops. Yeah, Sure. Okay. It's sort of a trim. It's just a finished edge. And it gives you it gives you a tactile as well as a visual component to look at. Does it have a function? Sure it does. I'm sure it has a function. So in this particular, whoops, see, not a lot of room. In this particular signature, I'm going to put it on this writing page. Writing pages are flimsier than some of my other pages, and I find that if I do an edge on it, it does stabilize the paper. It makes it nicer to handle. So let's see, we did put it on this side. What's over here? Yeah, we're fine. What's over here? Yeah, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to put it on this side. Okay. Good. Okay. Oops. You know what? Let's see if I can bring it out. Maybe I'll bring out a different one. Nope. I have underneath the cutting mat that you can see, I actually have a glue mat. Its formal function is to act as a glue mat. It was a very inexpensive cutting board. I think I picked it up at Ace Hardware. And I think when I bought them, you got a package of 2 for like, I don't know, $2.50 or something. It's been a little while. And I don't always take the time to reach underneath the mat. Yeah, that's right here, and bring it out. But I figured maybe this would be better than trying to unglue the pages below this. So I'm kind of going with the purpley theme here. My client is a purple and blue fan, and many of the artwork things that she has indicated she's putting in this have mermaids that are blues and purples, and some of the things that I've done or that I've pulled are blues and purples. So there you go. Ta-da! Didn't stick to the page underneath. Okay, so there's that one. And then in the front section, I have it sticking up, I have this page that has 2 pockets, and it's a piece of writing paper. So I'm going to go ahead and put this pink on this page, but not on the side with the pockets, on the other side. Let's go with this side up. Let's go with my glue mat. So I'm going to bring that back in. Pardon my reach. And glue this down. I like the look of lace and trims and ribbons and pages sticking out the sides or the tops of my junk journals. I think it fuels the imagination. And let's see, I think we'll put this the pink satin up. So this is something that I like, and hopefully the client will be happy with it as well. Because, you know, this is just a hair short. Okay. All right. I think I'm going to need my eraser. Yeah, that's right. I use, if I can find it, a white art eraser. I find that it erases the glue where it started to dry and I couldn't get it to roll up. The eraser helps it roll up, and it helps clean up little extra glue places easily. I figure by going with the white, I am not encouraging a pink eraser to leave behind pink debris. Okay. So those things are now in place. And when you look at this edge now, you see some, oh, sorry, didn't mean to bump you. Some interesting things sticking off. And then what we'll be able to do is take that interesting cluster, the pin cluster. These are all, these I made, I don't know, maybe in part 3 or that's what I'm thinking. I'm not sure. If you haven't seen it, go back and check it out. This is kind of a fun thing. I will take and hook this pin into one of these pieces of lace when it's time to deliver that, so it would look like that to the eye. And then this can be, you know, this can be left as it is. It can be put on the spine as a spine dangle, or it could be taken apart, and each of these could be used in the journal as an independent cluster. It could be glued in and decorated onto pages. So there's some options that you've got with those. I think they're really cool. I liked the idea. So we have stenciled in, we have gotten some ribbon and trim placed in, and that is going to take us to the end of decorating in this particular journal. So this is going to wrap up this part, and our final part is going to be getting the front decoration put on, and I will get the ring put on here. This was supposed to have already been put in. It's best to do it before you sew your signatures in, and so I thought I would not share with you the drudgery and heartbreak of picking this knot apart, taking out the center, signature, poking a hole, and then putting in the ring on the back and sewing this back in. I think that would be fine if we didn't share those moments. So that's what's going to happen in our next time. I'll show you the ring that's done, and we will decorate the front of this, and then it will be ready to turn over to our client, my client Stephanie, and we'll see. Yeah, I think we're good here. You know what we haven't done is we have not put any of these little designs here and there on pages. So this is printed actually on the paper, you know, on the paper, no, on the fabric that my client gave me to use. And when I saw how similar these were in some ways, I decided that I would like to sprinkle them through. So I'm going to do that. Actually, while I have you right now, I will do that immediately. And I'm going to do that with blue. I will put a couple of these in, and then I think hopefully you can trust me to do a decent job on other pages. Okay? Gosh, I hope so. Okay, so there's one there. Oh, let's stick one over here. This may be a section of the page that does get covered, and if it does, there's nothing wrong with that. Will not hurt my feelings if that little stamp gets covered. Let's now take this guy. I'm not even going to bother putting it on, although maybe I should have. We'll see. We'll see. Does this want to work here? We're going to work it in as if it were part of the design. Of course, it's blue ink, so no one's going to be fooled. Okay. This went off the page. And then so I'm wrapping this up now. I'm going to say thanks so much for joining me on this journey, and when I come back, we will have the last part of the creating of this journal. And then at some point in the not too distant future, we will actually have the client here. She's going to bring her journal back and she's going to share with us some of the things that she has added and done to this journal. I'm very excited about that. So there we go. All right. Thanks very much. Make sure that you have hit the bell for notifications. If you haven't subscribed yet, do that. I'd love a thumbs up, and I'd really like feedback, comments, questions, ideas. Let's learn. Let's learn from each other. Okay. Thank you. Have a good time.